Russian President Vladimir Putin called on the Ukrainian military to end resistance and turn on their leaders. Then there's Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, who's urging the country to stand firm, and the fate of Ukraine is being decided right now, he says. With so much going on between Russia and Ukraine, there have been some pretty frightening and scary developments. Hey guys, what's happening? Welcome back to FTD Facts. My name is Leroy Kenton, and in this episode, I'll be taking a look at 10 scary developments in Russia's invasion of Ukraine this year, 2022. Okay, first thing to look at number 10 is the sanctions on Russia. The United States, as well as other nations like Great Britain, Canada, as well as the rest of the European Union, they have slapped some sanctions on Russia, and they hold Vladimir Putin, as well as his foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, directly responsible for Moscow's unprovoked and unlawful invasion of Ukraine. The European Union unanimously agreed to freeze their assets, while over in the United States, their press secretary said that the United States' sanctions would include a travel ban. So yeah, things are getting pretty heated out there. But moving on to number 9, deterrence forces on alert. Whew. Okay, this one is huge, guys. Vladimir Putin has ordered Russia's military to put its deterrence forces, which include nuclear weapons, on special alert. This is making a whole lot of headlines right now. He told the defense chiefs that it was because of aggressive statements by the West amid the widespread condemnation of his invasion of Ukraine. Now, this announcement does not necessarily mean that Russia intends to use nuclear weapons, but we can never be too certain. Also, Pope Francis has made some moves. In what is being called an unprecedented move, Pope Francis went to the Russian embassy to personally express his concerns over the war between Russia and Ukraine. He did assure a top Ukrainian Greek Catholic leader, though, that he would do everything that he could to help. So with the influence of the Pope, well, we can expect to see more calls for humanitarian efforts by him. But also, when the Pope moves like this, you know it's something really, really serious. The development at number 7 has to do with the International Court. Ukraine took Russia to the International Court of Justice, which is based in The Hague, or Den Haag, Netherlands, on day 4 of the invasion. Russian forces, by the way, continue to hit Ukraine cities with artillery as well as cruise missiles. The ICJ, by the way, does not have a mandate to bring criminal charges against individual Russian leaders behind this invasion, but it is the top court in the entire world for resolving legal complaints between states over alleged breaches of international law. It is the supreme judicial institution of the United Nations, so that's something to take into consideration. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens with the International Court of Justice. Now for number 6, the EU takes more actions. Okay, so the European Union announced new measures to hurt Russia, including banning all Russian-run planes from its skies. They've also implemented measures to hurt the country's state media outlets, as well as they are setting aside some funding for weapons for Ukraine. Okay, and that leads us to number 5, Russia's financial collapse. Yeah, Russia was scrambling like crazy to prevent a financial meltdown, as its economy was really slammed by a lot of crushing Western sanctions that were imposed over the weekend in response to the invasion of Ukraine. The Russian President Vladimir Putin was due to hold a crisis talk with his top advisors after the Russian ruble crashed to a record low against the United States dollar. The Russian central bank more than doubled interest rates to 20%, and Moscow's stock exchange was completely shuttered for the day. This, by the way, being Monday, February 28th, 2022. Also on top of that, the European subsidiary of Russia's biggest bank was on the brink of collapse after people that had saved money, they rushed to withdraw their deposits, and economists are warning that the Russian economy could shrink by 5%. Now, number 4 is also very scary: Chernobyl radiation. With Chernobyl now under control of Russia, Ukraine's Nuclear Energy Regulator Agency has said that there are higher levels of radiation being reported from the decommissioned nuclear plant. It attributed the rise to a disturbance of the topsoil due to the movement of large amount of heavy military equipment through the exclusion zone and the release of contaminated radioactive dust into the air. Now, the fact that Russia controls this Chernobyl plant is pretty scary. People are just wondering, okay, what do they plan to do with this nuclear radiation? Number 3 brings us a tank that crushes a car. Luckily though, the guy survived. There was a frightening moment caught on camera of an elderly Ukrainian driver who was pulled out alive from a crushed car after Russian troops deliberately swerved their tank to drive over his car. And you see, actions like this are leaving a lot of people terrified that the Russian forces will continue to do the unexpected. Also, Ukraine has gained a lot of powerful support. It is reported that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and his nation have done more to transform the West's policies toward Russia than 30 years of post-Cold War efforts. Zelenskyy's defiance has inspired and pretty much shamed the United States as well as the European Union into going a lot further and a lot faster in taking actions against Russia than it seemed to at first. By promising weapons as well as ammunition to Ukraine, the West really seems now to be drawn into a proxy war of sorts with Russia over Ukraine, even though Ukraine is not a NATO member. This, of course, is something that Russia has feared because there has been some inclination for Ukraine to join NATO. But hey, looks like they're getting NATO support anyway. And finally, number 1, Ukrainians are leaving. This is very sad. There's been a mass exodus of refugees from Ukraine, and it shows no signs of stopping anytime soon because they're fleeing for their lives. The UN estimates that more than 500,000 people have already escaped at the time of filming this video. And you see long lines of people, cars, buses, you name it. They were packed up at checkpoints at the borders of countries like Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, Romania, as well as non-European member state Moldova. You'll see some people crossing the borders by foot. They're just dragging and carrying the little possessions that they have, carrying their children over. And these people have abandoned their homes. They've been separated from family members, not knowing if they ever will return. And that's a very scary thought. So guys, that wraps up this episode. This was just a brief look at 10 scary developments in this whole Russian invasion of Ukraine. Thank you guys for watching this. If you enjoyed this video, you found it useful, informative, don't forget to leave a like. And also I want to hear your thoughts and comments down below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when new videos are posted here on FTD Facts. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode.